episode of Fearless Flight Live. And back with us are, of course, Diane and Dieter. And we have three guests who have actually made the flight that we're going to talk about tonight, or done the classes. We're going to talk about our 201 and 301 classes and some of the history behind that, and history behind why we're doing this in particular right now. You may notice that Eric, our good friend and fellow pilot for me, is absent tonight. Some of you, if you were watching a couple of weeks ago, I believe he shared that his wife has had cancer for a number of years now. And sadly, we just learned this afternoon that she's going into hospice. And so if you can, just keep him in your thoughts and prayers. And I told him we'd give everybody our regards, and he was totally okay with me sharing that with you all out there. So very sad time in his life, and we'll all remember him and Deb, his wife. So, okay. Without further ado, I'll introduce Wendy Moy and Tom Toka and Oliver Fry. These are three individuals who came through last year through the class, and after COVID hit, we decided to do an online or a webinar version of the class. And then I had pretty much committed to Oliver to fly with him, and Tom and Wendy were able to join us. So we actually kind of did a prototype of what I've put together now. We can give most of the credit for this if there's a sense of urgency or a sense of getting it on the schedule, to Tom, because Tom wanted to have the experience again. So with that, and the prompting from a lot of people, the questions over the last year of people in the Los Angeles area, I decided that we would try to do a class based out of somewhere in the LA basin. And when Oliver heard that, Oliver jumped on the bandwagon, said he's going to fly again. Is that true, Oliver? Are you in on this thing too? You're muted, I think, Oliver. So. Okay, hopefully that'll.
There we go.
There you hear me? Thanks. Yeah, welcome, Oliver.
Thank you for having me.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen. I've put some slides together, and I'm going to invite the three of you to talk about your experiences with the various phases, because Wendy did not attend the class online. You came to the live class, I think, didn't you, Wendy, over here in Phoenix? Nope. You did. Okay. You did fly over. I know that. So we'll probably get to that in the course of the show too. So again, Fearless Flight Live, for anybody just joining us now, we do this every week for people who are afraid to fly. Or know somebody who's afraid to fly, or just like to talk about airplanes and keep current in the aviation industry. And this slide has to do with our Birds of a Feather group. It's a private group. We encourage you to join. We're up over 800 and growing, and we've achieved that critical mass that's helpful on Facebook. We're now, you can always count on somebody to be hanging in there with you, monitoring you, and providing information and feedback. So if you haven't joined, we encourage you to go over there and join. So the subject tonight is just to talk about this 301 class, and really it's a 201 class, and I'm going to catch that up here in just a minute. We will be flying out of Orange County. The whole class is going to culminate in Orange County on Saturday, October 30th. And we're going to fly to Sacramento. And I'll tell you how you can become a part of that if you go through there. I mentioned that we do the 201 class. The 201 class is a precursor to the 301 class. And in the past, what we would do is we would hold that when I did the classes in the LA Basin area, we did it at a motion picture studio up north of the Burbank Airport, and then we would fly later on in the afternoon. When I would do it over Phoenix, or now this class in Orange County, what we're going to do is we're going to do the class in 4 modules, 3 plus a bonus, throughout the month of October, and then we're going to meet live at the Orange County Airport, and we'll provide details of that later on, and then we'll all go flying. And one of the advantages of doing it online, of course, is we don't have to get together all together except for the flight. And because in the past, while there's a lot of energy getting together in the morning with all the class members and stuff, one of the problems is it's hard to squeeze the class in and still have enough choices on the flight so we can go out and back. And I'll show you that in just a minute here. So there are going to be 4 modules. These are all parts of the 201 class. I'm sorry. And so we'll do that. I have the dates coming up on that as well. So module 1 is going to launch on October 7th at 7:30 in the evening. They'll all run for an hour and a half or so. And then every week after that, that's a Thursday night. So we'll have Thursday, October 7th. Then next week on October 14th, October 21st, and then we'll have a bonus module I call the mock flight on October 28th, the last Thursday before the 30th, before we fly. And we've got that down for an hour. And what goes into that are the I guess I'll have the content coming up here more. Basically, the class is organized into it says classroom instruction. It's going to be actually almost 9 hours of instruction now via the webinar, so we have an advantage of that. You don't waste the travel time and all that. We're going to teach you the Fearless Flight method and give you the tools so that you'll be 100% prepared for all the stages of flight and not have to pick and choose whether or not there's going to be turbulence along the way. And we'll talk about everything from the TSA to the gate to boarding door closing, turbulence, all those kinds of things, including the basics of flight, the psychology of fear and flying, and then coping skills. And so that'll be the content. I'll talk to Oliver. Tom, you just came over for the 101 class. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. Okay. So Oliver, let me just throw this out to you. So when you were one of the people who did the class online, which is now we're going to use that as the model for this class on October 30th or leading up to the flight on October 30th. How did you feel prepared when we went to fly then?
Yeah, I felt prepared. It really helped me out, and especially the coping mechanisms and how to keep your mind busy and be confident getting on the plane.
Okay, and we use break rooms, which is one of the features that you can do in using Zoom. Can you share any like that experiences? It adds a little bit of intimacy in my experience. So
yeah, we had break rooms where we break off with members in our group and we just talk about what we're afraid of, and you kind of realize that a lot of things that you have this fear of, a lot of other people have the same fear, and you think you're by yourself, but you realize you're not even close to being alone and having fear of flying and what you're afraid of happening to you on the plane.
Yeah. And so the thing that when I coach people, whether it's with the goal of flying with them or them flying on their own, what I found over the years is you're not going to be able to avoid the anxiety. And I think all 3 of you would testify to that. And so I'll ask for a comment on that. But so when it comes to anxiety, how did you feel when you came to the airport, Wendy? Because you and I just did a coaching call over the phone for anybody out there that may be all they want to do. But so what was your experience when because you had the courage to get on an airplane, fly over to Phoenix, and then go flying with us. And so we want to just give everybody a little bit of a taste of what that experience was like.
So I decided it had been 32 years since I'd flown. And so I was really, really terrified. So I decided if I was going to beat it, I was going to beat it. And so I did the coaching call with you a few days before. That morning, my husband was trying to keep me busy because I decided to do it alone. I wasn't even taking my husband with me. And he dropped me off at the airport, and I had a drink, and I was getting ready to go down to the gate. And I thought, I can't do it. I'm not going to be able to do it. I can't do it. So I called you, and you gave me some really great instruction. And I got on the plane, and I followed everything you said to do to a T. And by the time I sat in my seat, I was fine. Totally fine.
And Tom, how was that morning for you?
That morning was
Oh, we lost your sound.
really bad. So I woke up in the hotel, so I was like, I'm sorry, I don't know what's wrong with my internet. So that morning was really bad. Once I woke up in the Phoenix in the hotel, I was really terrified. I was like, I have to do it. So I went to the airport. Once I was to the airport, that was really bad experience for me. I met Oliver, I met Wendy, then the captain won't show up, and I was going really bad minute after minute. But those three people, they gave me so much courage, so much strength that I was able to do it.
Yeah,
So coming to the airport was worse, but that was a time you guys helped me to break the fear and I was able to do it. So being together, meeting other people is very helpful. They do help.
yeah. So the scope of the 201 class will be to prepare everybody by educating them about fear in flying, and that includes talking about the, not only the psychology of flying, but the psychology of fear of flying in particular. And the goal is, as you can tell from these folks, is to not eliminate your anxiety. I mean, that would be ideal if you could do that, but it's rare for anybody to show up at the airport and not have at least some remnant of anxiety with them. What you do is you get the confidence that you'll be safe, because that's really where confidence comes from. The reason people get so freaked out about flying is because they're worried either about something going wrong with the airplane, but more often than not, they're worried about something, about their own inability to cope with their own feelings. And maybe, whether that leads to embarrassment, whether it leads to, having to get off the airplane, or a variety of experiences in between that. So what the goal of the 201 class is to give you the confidence to know that you can minimize your anxiety, and more importantly, you can stop it and kind of put a lid on it. And one of the things we'll do during the bonus flight is we'll go through just the flow of the thing, and we'll help you anticipate, maybe even conjure up a little bit of anticipatory anxiety, since when we do that, we'll be 2 days prior to the flight there. So anyway, the 301 class, as Tom alluded to, the best thing about it is the in-flight support, that not only from me, but from the other people that you're flying with. And it's been proven in research that when you support somebody, and this is a statement about the Birds of a Feather group as well, when we support other people in activities like this, whether it's supporting them to go fly either with you or without you, what it does is it works on you at the same time. It helps you to kind of listen to yourself, and gives you more courage and confidence that you can do it for yourself. And when we do this, I can't say enough about the in-flight support. By the time people get on the airplane and into the climb, and I think even Tom would attest to that, the level of anxiety is dramatically reduced. And it's just what happens. I remember when I first started doing this years ago, and people would come to the airport frantic. Actually, privately, I was worried that I was going to damage them, because I really lacked my own confidence, thinking that, oh my gosh, what happens if something goes really wrong? And that diminished rapidly over the years as I saw people come, no matter what condition they were in, if they got on the airplane and embarked on the flight. By the time we were in the climb, well before level off, people had I would say, like a 90% reduction in their anxiety. And you've heard me talk here about the difference between situational anxiety and anticipatory anxiety. And of course, what you see when you go to the airport and you watch people about to overcome that, you see a lot of a display of anticipatory anxiety. When you then see them on the airplane, you see the reduction in situational, because situational is so much less than anticipatory anxiety. When we get done, when we get to the first destination, in this case it'll be Sacramento, we do a little debrief on the flight, and it's really like you got rid of the original people that boarded the airplane with you, and you got a new crew, because everybody is so much more relieved then. And it's kind of funny in a way. People get anxious this time, but not about flying, about just wanting to get the heck back on the airplane and go back home and conduct the rest of their lives. And we have a little certificate and a ceremony that we do at the end of the thing there. Diane, I noticed you're there. You want to comment about your experiences when you've flown with us?
The one thing that I always love, and you alluded to, it's like we have a completely different group of people. The folks that start off when we're at the airport and we're getting ready to get on the plane, that's one group of people, and they they are brimming usually with some level of anxiety. And then when we get on the plane and we get to our destination and we all deplane and we go have lunch or whatever we're doing, it's a completely different group of people. It's just, they're calm. They say, as you have said, Ron, my gosh, was that it? You know, what was I afraid of? And that, I think, is one of the most, if not the most rewarding parts of all of this for me, is to see this 180-degree change from the individuals who start off and worrying and being concerned that they're going to freak out, because that is a big concern, but none of them does. And then when we land, it's like, okay, well, let's have lunch. I want to go home now.
Yeah.
I love that part. I just love that part.
Yeah, it's really something. It's the best of doing this, is to watch people transform in such a short period of time.
Definitely,
So
definitely.
now what I'm going to do, and I'm going to preface this by Dieter's is watching the comments there, and hopefully we'll catch any questions that come in. When we get done with this, I'm going to take these slides and modify them with any notes or anything I learned from you all during this. And we're going to put them and a copy of the video here. We're going to put them in another email, and we're going to send that to you. And in that email that you're going to get either later tonight or in the morning, if you're on my list, you're going to get the opportunity to click on there's a form that you'll get, and you're going to be able to provide that information if you're interested in. And then when you click on the form and send it, it'll come directly to me. There won't be any intermediary payment or anything like that. I'm going to handle that personally, and I'll discuss that more in detail before. So right now we're going to talk about the nuts and bolts of what's going to happen here. You already know now that the class is going to be cleared for takeoff 201, which is going to be conducted on 4 separate modules on Thursday nights during the month of October. And those will also be recorded, so you'll have those for a legacy of your own down the road. And then everybody that's going to fly is going to meet then at Orange County Airport, and we'll come up with those details as we get a little bit closer in here. Tom has arranged for us possibly to have a room down there if we can, or if we need to, but we'll have the day of the flight. The last module is a bonus module where we'll talk about the flight, make it a mock flight, and talk about all the details and put you in the various situations and allow you to practice and come up with a strategy, which we call your own fearless flight plan, and how you're going to attack the whole thing. And then when we get to the day of the flight, we'll meet slightly earlier than the boarding time, and we'll have a little personal debrief there, or a personal briefing as to what's going to happen during each one of the flights there. So here we are. So right now I have identified, and I just went online. These are the numbers from this afternoon. So the first thing to remember is you have to purchase your own tickets. Last week I alluded to the fact that I was going to try and do this through the group desk at Southwest. There's no real advantage in doing that. And the one thing the disadvantage is, if for some reason you elect not to fly when we get to the airport that day, then what you can do is you can at least get credit for the unused portion of your flight. And so that's the biggest reason to do this. And it takes me out of the travel agency business, which I'm not that good at anyway. And so what I've done here, and I've got this view expanded here. When you go on to Southwest Airlines, this is the flight you're going to look at. And again, you're going to get a copy of this. And if you have any doubts about whether you'll receive the email at the end, just send me an email at Captain Ron, CAPTRON at fearlessflight.com, and just put it anywhere in there. I will save that I will get that in my email then, and that'll make sure that it puts me on notice to make sure that you get the email. But the main thing to remember about the tickets is you have to purchase your own tickets. Now that includes, we're gonna limit the group to 10 people. So if you have any intentions of flying, you want to jump on this sooner rather than later there. And that includes the 10 people will be separate, But people, if you want to take a coach or a companion with you, you can get a ticket for them as well, and we'll add them to the group. So the amount of students that I'm going to take is 10 students. Okay. This is the flight that I've picked that will take over there. You can see it leaves 10:50 in the morning, arrives in Sacramento at 12:20 in the afternoon. And you can see I like to point out the fare structure here. So if you look down here, this is the want to get away fare. The further away you are from the date of the flight, the more likelihood you are to get this fare, and it changes. Okay, the anytime fare and the business select fare, those are relatively fixed. So the closer you get to the day of flying, the closer it gets to this price here. So you can save a significant amount of money, and that's a one-way fare. So there will be another fare coming back. But the main thing you want to remember is to get on and get your fare. Now I'm gonna ask that you don't buy a ticket until we've spoken, and I'm going to speak to everyone in the class. That's what's going to be different about this and past classes that I've done. So that's the fare structure, and you want to go over and do that. So this is the ticket coming back. So you have to purchase 2 tickets, one going up and one going for the return flight. And you can see what happens is I run into an issue sometimes, particularly when we had the classroom activities in the morning, where I couldn't even find 2 flights that would get us up there and then get us back in the same day. So otherwise we get stuck there. And I'm not too crazy about taking the last flight out either, because if there's any kind of a problem, then we're all going to be stuck there overnight. So I think this is going to work much better in the long run, based on feedback from Oliver and the other people that took to the online class that I tried as a prototype last year. It works out pretty well, and people feel prepared for the flight. So we'll get up there at 12:20, I think it was, and we'll depart at 1:25. Now that's a tighter connection than what I normally get. Normally, sometimes we've had to sit up there for 3 or 4 hours, but this makes it a really nice day. We get on the airplane at 10:50, and we'll get back just basically 3 hours or 4 hours later, which is a really, really good turn. It's a great flight going up to Sacramento. It gives us a little bit of time and cruise for you to practice. And you can see when I go to the next slide, you can see that the fare is also $67, because there can be a disparity in the outbound and the inbound trip there. So again, you need to buy the ticket yourself, or your tickets yourself. You need to purchase tickets for your coach or companion. And you'll want to do it as quickly as I can confirm you in the class, and I'm going to do that as quickly as possible. So here are the details. I'm going to limit the class to 10 students. So you want to identify yourself early on that, and you can bring a coach and a companion. The tuition for this, it's going to be $497. That's just the classroom. You're going to get the nearly 9 hours of class, plus the replays of the class, and then customized personal attention. We're going to do it as a group activity, so it's going to be a lot more personal than what we did in the past. Now, if you can identify that you want to do this, I'm going to offer an early bird special. And so if you can provide payment by noon Friday, I'm going to knock $100 off of the overall tuition. So that would bring it down to $397. And if you have a coach or companion, we just charge $97 for that person's place in the class. So again, the tuition $497, but if you declare yourself and do it early as an early bird special, we're going to give you the benefit of that and drop $100 off the price. And you'll want to do that anyway, because it's going to make it possible to get the most savings and the cheapest fare there. Now, the 4 modules I just touched on are going to be the psychology of the fear of flying. That's going to be in week 1. The next week is going to be the basics of flight. The third week, we're going to go into a great deal on coping tools and strategies. And then the last week, the bonus module is going to be chair fly, something that I did in the military when I was studying to be a pilot. You know, just because you are selected by the military to go through and do this magnificent flight training doesn't mean that you spend all the time in an airplane. In fact, you probably spend 10 hours preparing for every hour that you experience as a student in flight. And so I've adapted that for Fear of Flying to help you immerse yourself in that environment and practice some of the tools that we've done. Again, the first module is going to be October 7th. All of them are going to start at 7:30 p.m. and will end at 9. So an hour and a half of that. And then the last week, the bonus module with the mock flight will be just an hour from 7:30 to 9:30 in preparation for our flight on that. So here's the important parts. Tonight or in the morning, if you're on our list and if you received an email today encouraging you to come to the webinar or to the class tonight, or the show tonight, you will also get a follow-up email. Okay. And when you receive that email in there, you'll get a copy of the replay of the webinar that we're doing, or the class that we're doing, the show that we're doing right now. You'll get a PDF with all of these slides in there with the details. And then you'll get a link to a form. And that form is basically your declaration that you are interested in taking the class. And then I will personally contact each and every person by virtue of those forms, and we'll go through and make sure there are no misunderstandings in the class, and I'll do some qualifications too, because it might not be for everybody, even though you think that this might be the thing for you to do. So you're going to receive an email. Just like you did if you did today, you're going to receive a link to a form to identify yourself as someone who's interested in the class, and I will then personally contact each one of you based on the information that you put in the form to confirm your participation in the class. So if you have any doubts, please right now take the opportunity to send me an email at Captain Ron, CAPTRON, at FearlessFlight.com. And I believe Dieter has put that in the remarks there. Okay. So again, I will confirm your inclusion in the class, and I hope to have the class all filled by Friday. And that way everybody will save $100 on that. I will
Ron,
bill
there's
you.
a couple questions that maybe now is a good time that we
Okay, go ahead.
Address them.
Okay.
So Lisa wants to know 10 students plus coaches. Is that correct?
That is correct. So we're going to limit it to 10 students. And if I get an enormous amount of people who want to do this, I will be able to make some adjustments at this point in time. And because that's why Diane goes with us. That's why Eric goes with us, and Dieter went with us. When we have larger classes, I add coaches from my staff there. So right now, I would just, if you have a burning desire to do this, fill out the form and let's talk. And then if I find that I've got more people that want to fly, we can accommodate that, or we should be able to accommodate that. Okay. I hope that answers.
So there were a couple of questions to that, but you already answered them. So let's move on to the next one. Leslie is asking whether will the companion be able to participate in the modules?
Absolutely. Not only will they be able to, I encourage them, because particularly when we get to the third module on talking about coping methods and skills, and the fourth one where we do the mock flight, we're going to talk about how the coach can support you. You know, and many of you know that if you've got somebody that loves you, and first of all, they might not be as all together up to speed on just what it's like. You know, some of them may even doubt that this is a real thing. And when those people come to the classes, they get a really, really good insight as to just what it's like to be afraid to fly. And we get that, as Oliver mentioned before, you get that from other students in the class. And it's really powerful, because we've had a lot of coaches and companions come up afterwards and say, gosh, I had no idea what they were going through. So second only to finding out and getting an appreciation for just what it means to be afraid to fly, is the fact that we will talk to the coaches and the companions, and we'll give them some specific things they can do. Because even if they do understand and can empathize with what you're going through, many of them don't know what to do about it. And so what they try to do is usually counterproductive. They try to talk you out of your fear, tell you it's going to be okay, just like the gate agents and people sometimes try to do with people who are afraid to fly. And that doesn't work. So we'll come up with some skills and strategies and some things that the people who are going to fly with you can do, not only to support you on the day of that flight, but can do from then on out. Okay. So they are definitely part of the team that we're building.
All right. So then the next one is just a quick one from Susanna, and she would love to know how she can get notified when you do this next from the Phoenix airport.
Okay, so that's another point. So what I want you to do, that's why I invited anybody who's following us from around the country, if you will, put down, send me an email and say, hey, I can't make Orange County, or you don't even have to remember that. I can't make that. I would be interested in Phoenix, or the three that we're looking at are in addition to Orange County, possibly by the end of the year, if this goes as well as we think it's going to go, would be Phoenix. We hope to do another class in Phoenix. We hope to do our first class in Boston, and we hope we're even looking at Atlanta. So if there's any way possible, we're going to try to look at those other three cities. But even if those are not on your somewhere where you could attend, send us a message, send me an email. Hey, Captain Ron, I would be interested in Chicago, or I would be interested in Dallas, Fort Worth, anywhere that you might be interested in, because that's my goal. So that next year I spend a lot more time on the road doing these classes all around the country. And we're all really excited about that. And that's why I'm kind of making this class a little bit lower key to see how it works and what the pitfalls are so we can improve it. So if you're not able to do the Orange County class, but you're interested in Phoenix, Boston, or Atlanta in particular, let me know that. And again, if you have any other city that you'd be interested in coming to, let me know so that we can start planning and we can start launching a public campaign to let people know that we're going to do this. Okay.
All right. I'm just gonna reiterate, I think, what you said before, and that is you're gonna send out this email for where people can register, correct?
Right. If you received an email notifying you to attend the show tonight, you will receive a follow-up email that has the information in it. Okay.
Okay. So to that, further to that, there was a question. What if I'm not on your email list? And so we're just gonna direct anybody to Captain Ron at
Captain Ron at
fearlessflight.com.
fearlessflight.com. Send it to me and I will be looking at it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
We will not leave you. We will not leave you grounded. All right.
And
Send us
yes,
a-
one day Miami, one day, hopefully sooner than later, Boston, and then also Grace. Yes, maybe one day Seattle. So
Okay, those are
great.
cities that we're looking at, and I know Marcia Brighter is down there in Miami. Marcia, we're going to get to you. I don't know when, but we're going to get to you. Okay, so all right, so you're going to get direct contact, personal contact from me when I receive your form. You're going to, I will then use just a personal PayPal invoice to bill you, and you can pay, you don't have to have a PayPal account. You can use check or a credit card or debit card to do that. And installment payments if you need help with your budget, let me know, because I can work with you on a payment plan as well. All right. So I got this quote. I'm reading this book called Wonderworks. I highly recommend it. And you've heard me talk about the fact that I think that a high percentage of the population has been traumatized. And I see that all the times in the symptoms. It shows up in hypervigilance for people who are afraid to fly. It shows up in hypersensitivity. And in fact, this is a quote from this author of this book called Wonderworks. And it's a really, really innovative work of literature. And in it, he talks about traditional or classic literature and how people understood trauma long before we had the science and the neuroscience to back it up. But in this, he quotes a study that was done, and it says traumatic fear will be experienced by about 90% of us over our lives, and post-traumatic residue will linger in roughly 10%. And I swear, just about everybody I've ever worked with with their fear of flying has evidence of that traumatic residue. So any other questions out there? I'm going to throw this out. Thanks, Wendy, for joining us here. Any words of encouragement for people who might be like you and think, even when you decided to go, you got there and said, I can't do this. What would you say to them?
Anybody who is sitting there even remotely on the fence, 32 years of missing weddings and graduations and funerals and family reunions, and I'd had enough. I cannot even tell you. I think we went in June was when we flew together, and I've flown 9 times since then. It has completely changed my life. If you're sitting on the fence, get off the fence and do it. It will change your life. End of story.
Oliver, you've done this before. You've seen the people. It helped you and all that. What would you say to people out there? And you're going to do this again with us, right? So you're going to be there to mentor people.
Yeah, mentor and keep my mind busy. That's the big thing. Well,
yes.
Helping Tom, it actually helped me. So I'm looking forward to it and doing it. Yeah, you're going to do it. This is a great opportunity if you're in the Southern California area, to get out there and just overcome your fear.
And Tom, it's basically your fault that we're doing this in the first place. You're the one that insisted that I get off my duff and put this together. And I thought, what the heck? I have over the last year got a number of inquiries from people in LA because we weren't able to do the classes anywhere, but most importantly, the Burbank classes over there. And so I'm glad that you did this. I really feel good about doing this. And you're going to go with us, and you've had probably one of the most incredible experiences. So what would you say to people out there?
I would say, if I can do it, if you can do it, you can do it. I haven't flown for more than 10 years. I tried different therapies, hypnotherapies. I spoke to different pilots. It didn't work. You, Captain Ron, you did it. I don't know how you're doing this. You're able to talk to the people. You have something that works for us. I did it when they did it. We're all gonna do it again. We're gonna help anyone who wants to do it. Just come join us. I'm not advertising here. I'm here to help. Captain Ron is a really, really great deal. I really appreciate
and Diane, we first met when you were a volunteer at the Phoenix airport, and
Yes.
you came up to me and said, "Hey, can I come to your classes and all that?" And so you first observed, and then lo and behold, now you're flying your dream job as a flight attendant.
Right.
So what would you say to the people out here?
All the things that your 3 guests have said, and that is this opportunity for those individuals who've been 10 or 15 or like when you're 32 years without flying. This is the opportunity to get past that. And another thing that you alluded to before, and that's the opportunity for the coaches to see. I think a lot of times people, as you said, they say, oh no, they don't really embrace the notion that this is a genuine fear, genuine anxiety. And when you're only dealing with one individual, your spouse or a good friend, it's relatively walled off. But when you see a group of people, all of a sudden it hits you that, yes, this really is real. And so it's not just the person who's afraid to fly, but as you said, the coaches, the loved ones that are going to be out there, and they're going to be benefiting from the education. And ultimately, everyone's going to be benefiting for the opportunity to go to a wedding or a graduation or those wonderful family events that being afraid to fly has kept them from. So it's, over all of these years, ever since I met you about 6 years ago, it's just been a wonderful awakening for me, and certainly a great benefit now that I'm a flight attendant to help those passengers, which I can identify as having an anxiety of being up in the air with me. So it's just been a wonderful experience all around.
Our goal is to get you out of your chair and into the air, and not just to make it to your original destination, but so that you don't ruin the time when you're visiting or doing whatever business you were conducting, but to really be able to handle all the situations and all that. And so we really hope you'll come and do this. I'm excited about doing this outside of the Phoenix area. So again, don't forget, if you have any doubts about being left behind, make sure you send an email to Captain Ron at FearlessFlight and tell me what you need to know from me. Okay. And make so that you get the word, and we'll work with anybody who wants to to make this happen. And it's not like I said, it's not just for the fearful flyer. It's for the coach or the companion. Even if they don't fly with you, they can at least come and join us when we do the modules, or they can watch the replays with you, because we're going to talk about how people can support each other. Dieter, as a fellow therapist, I'm going to throw it out to you. Do we have any other questions that we need to do to wind this up, or words of support that you might add?
Yeah, thanks, Ron. First of all, I'm just gonna ask, maybe if for now, if you're okay to stop the share so we get to see everybody for a moment.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, first of all, I want to really thank all of you who have put really heartfelt, touching comments, and good wishes and good vibes to Eric and Deb. So thank you for that. I know that they're both very appreciative of that. And
yeah, and we'll pass those on to your.
Yeah, we'll let Eric know. I'm gonna send him some of the chat comments right there. Secondly, Cami, thank you so much for sharing your experience there in chat while we were listening to Captain Ron. That was really cool. Cami actually was in a 201 class. She came all the way from LA to Phoenix. That was 2019, I think. And we had a really, really great bond. She was there with her husband and their daughter. So it's natural to have doubts. It's natural to go to that place that it works for everybody else except for me. Like Ron said, it's really an opportunity for you. And if with all the things that are going on in the world, this can be really the life-changing experience that Jim, who also was in one of our Air Hollywood classes, actually, where we met, and I sat next to Jim, who hasn't flown in over 30 years at that point. And God, he's such a dear friend, and it's amazing how, Jim, thank you for all your support during the live streams and everything. So what you're noticing is it's about community. It's about being vulnerable. It's about coming out of that shell. And this is a great opportunity for you if you can come to Orange County to do so. And again, if you're not getting the email, I'm going to say that again. Just send an email to captainron@fearlessflight.com, and we'll take care of you there.
We're looking forward to seeing it. We never know who might show up to, as Dieter alluded to. We've had people from past classes when we did in Burbank and Phoenix show up and just come along to support other people, which, think about it, they had to buy a ticket to go nowhere and come back, just so they could support people who were going through the same experiences. So that's another reason why I love doing this, is to see the sense of community that Dieter talked about. So thanks for joining us tonight. And I hope this is the start of yet another level for Fearless Flight. We're excited about doing this. And if you have any desires and you're going to be anywhere near Orange County on October 30th, please join us. All right.
I want to,
So thanks a
Ron,
lot.
two real quick things. Cami said, if I can do it, anyone can. And so that is definitely, vote of confidence right there. And I just want to say, you may miss me over the next couple of weeks because I'm heading over to Austria tomorrow. Actually, during this show, I was checking in on my flight. We're going over my dad isn't very well either, and thank God we now can travel. So we're gonna support my parents in their process over the next couple months. There's a bit of a time difference, so I'm not sure how often I'll get up at 2 a.m. But when I am, I'm gonna join, and make sure it's a Tuesday.
Cool. We'll look forward to it. I hope you have a safe journey, Dieter. And thanks again to Wendy so much, Oliver and Tom, again, for all your support, and keep coming back. It works. Fearless Flight. We'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.